Peace of Christ to all. In this video, we continue, answering those Muslims who speak that in Christianity, we say Christ died for us so we can do more sin. You know what? He died for you, so you are saved, which we prove that this is false. Christ, He died for me to give me a new chance with Him, to be better as a human, and to be holy as He ordered me to be. To walk in the road of holiness. Now let us go and see in Islam what Islam talk about sin. What Islam teach about sin. Always we hear Muslims speak about punishment in Islam, the hell and the heaven. Now, how to go to hell in Islam? Like, what is the reason to go to hell? Simply, not because you are a sinner. Simply because you are just not a Muslim. In Islam, the idea of hell is not for someone because he is bad. It is because you are not a Muslim. And we will prove that. All of us, we remember, in long time ago, there was a filthy man, who he claimed to be the man of God, and he was supposedly Christian. And this Pope, he was given a document for people to go to heaven. If you pay him some money, he give you a paper, say, you know what, I will sign it for you and you are going to go to heaven. So simply he was a hypocrite and not a man of God, and he will go to hell. And he was fooling those fools who they believe that he can do such a thing. But you will be really surprised that this idea of giving document to others about you can go to guaranteed to heaven by a piece of paper or by a promise, even if you are a sinner, even if you are a sinner now, and even if you are a sinner tomorrow, it exists long time before that man he did that. It is in the Quran. This is chapter 48, verse number 2. If you read with me in here, it says, Allah speaking to Muhammad, and the one is a sinner in here, it is Muhammad himself. Muhammad in the time of when he is living between people, they knew how evil he is. He cannot say, I'm not a sinner. Christ, when he stands in front of everyone who says, who can prove me as a sinner? Who can show my guilt? Who can judge me? Nobody was able to do it. Why? Because his fruit is proving what he's saying. Can Muhammad say who can? Yeah, he can say that after he got an army. In this chapter you will see the Quran saying it clearly that Allah may forgive thee the fault and the past and those to follow. By the way, in the Quran it's not faults. In Quran, in Arabic, it says ذنبك, sin, not faults. But Muslims, they have to make their prophet look better when they translate. It's not fault. What do you mean fault? The word dhanb, it does not mean fault. It means sin. And simply, the verse itself proving that this is not a word mean fault. Why? Because why God, He want to forgive you for a fault if it's a fault? The fault, it's not a sin. You do not need a forgiveness. You get the idea? Sin is not fault. And fault, there is no need for forgiveness from God for that. Because simply you don't mean to do that. This is what fault means. Sin, I mean to do it. And I did. Fault, it is something happened against my will. It's a fault. This is why we call it fault. The God of Islam is giving forgiveness license to Muhammad for his past and for the one who follow. And think about it. What kind of religion? This religion is given a license for sin, for past, and for the one is following. Huh? Something is fishy in there. Do you know why Muhammad he made this verse? Because simply after he make his verse saying, let us say the verse wasn't this way. The verse was, I'll forgive you for your past sin. Okay, it's mean Muhammad he should not do more sin no more. And this is a problem because he knew himself. But if he made a verse say, I forgive you for your past sin and your follow, simply nobody can judge him no more for being filthy. I was filthy and I'm going to be filthy more, and Allah saying to me, don't worry, be happy. Open license for sin. And the sin of Muhammad was even breaking his back. If we go to chapter 94 verse number 1, 2, 3, 4, you can read it. It's saying it clearly, and removed from thee the burden which did gall your back. You know, the burden of Muhammad is breaking his back. It's so heavy. And this verse made by Muhammad to make himself look better, because everybody knows that he is filthy. They live around him. It is different from me speaking to you. You never saw me. You never know in real life how I am. You know, I can claim that I am a good guy, but if you live to me next door, you know what, I cannot fool you. The same as someone he never saw my real life. So Muhammad was talking to those who knew who is he, who is he. Allah is removing the burden of Muhammad, which is breaking his back. How heavy it is, the burden of Muhammad. Can you explain to me what he did exactly? What this verse is about? Simply, Muhammad just trying to give himself a better look. Saying, you know what, yeah, I am filthy, I am extremely filthy, okay, but Allah is giving me a license. And this is the proof, this is the word of Allah, and Allah is saying to me, no problem. I take it off. This is a special license to Muhammad. You will never see in the Quran anyone getting a license like this about forgiveness for past and follow. Why? Because Muhammad simply, he is the one who is making the book for his benefit. Secondly, if we go and talk to Muslims, somebody said in the post, he said, what you showed us, it's all from the hadith. Show me from the Quran what you are saying, like for errors and mistakes. The Muslims today, they deny the hadith. 50 years ago, the hadith was number 2 for them, if not number 1. Because I can show you that hadith can go and follow or be followed more than the Quran itself. As an example, where in the Quran it says stone a woman to death for adultery? Not in there. It is in the hadith. The Muslims don't follow what the Quran is saying. The Quran says beat them 100 times. The Muslims practice the hadith against that verse. The verse in there doesn't say if you are single or married. So it's very clear that the hadith is a lot more important than the Quran. There's a lot of things in the Quran already being cancelled, but nobody can cancel the Muhammad words. Imagine Muslims accept that there is many verses in the Quran is abrogated. What abrogated means? Simply, it's mean cancelled. We cannot follow no more. But can you show me how you can say ever that Muhammad teaching as hadith is cancelled? As you see, stoned to death, it's a words of Muhammad, and I never saw the verse in the Quran. If you have it in the Quran, show it to me. So the words of Muhammad goes over the words of Allah. That is very clear. Now before I close this video, I want to show you something very stupid about the God of Islam, because he do not know, he himself who made Quran, or Muhammad who made the Quran, is very confused about forgiveness. This is chapter 39 verse number 53. It says, Allah forgive all sin. Do you see it? Allah forgive all sin. No exception. All. Verse after, saying Allah, don't forgive all sin. Allah forgive not the one who worship God with God. Okay, do you forgive all sin? Or you don't forgive all sin? Very confusing religion. This man is fool, and he made a book and he want to convince us that in Islam there is a religion. And you know what? If in the Quran it says the one who did worship God with God before, this is a sin, will never be forgiven. So what is the idea about converting to Islam? If I was someone who worship a God different from the real God and I convert to Islam, Allah saying, I will not forgive you, you will go to hell. Follow with me with the coming video, and I will show you something more important and you will laugh with me. Christ is Lord.